The first thing is why start? Make money when you're not at work. I want every single person, especially a young trainer, to go to a gym and get worn down and grind so hard that they have to get to 40 sessions a week and maybe even 50. I want them to do that for a few months, maybe even a year or two, and then realize it's unsustainable, but they learn so much and find the sweet spot of exactly how many clients they can train a week before they start losing how good of a trainer they are. For me, I realized that that's somewhere around the 25 to 30 mark, maybe even 20 on certain weeks, depending on how much of this stuff I'm doing and other things. But I think it's something that a lot of people don't necessarily think about, but you really want to be able to understand that you're providing the highest level of service. And at a certain point, when you're tired, when you're mentally been talking, just the idea of doing 40 one-on-one hour-long conversations with everybody is, as many of you know, can be draining, especially depending on what clientele you're working on. So simply put, make money when you're not at work. Okay. Less reliance on your city or gym. So a lot of people are working at different places. Certain places are only going to have so much foot traffic. It's going to be really hard after you've already ran up on every single person on the treadmill and tried to sell them a free session. It gets really hard to kind of keep having new people in there, especially at certain places, especially if you're in a smaller city. That's something to really be also aware of is online training can really open a lot of doors in that way. So you scale your income beyond your available hours. Similar to the first one, but the idea being that when you're a personal trainer, oftentimes and early on, which is great, you start to think about yourself as hours. I get paid this much an hour. Should I do that? I get paid this much an hour. Should I avoid wasting my time on this? How many hours do I need to get that next thing that I want? How many hours do I need to get to house? Like I used to love those numbers, especially in New York City. I'd be writing them out every week. Now I hate even thinking about that. But there's the next level of thinking where it's, how much money am I making a month, a year? That can just be a lot more beneficial. It's almost like a bigger scale of thinking about it. And when we think about getting money through online training like this, it definitely is beyond just the hours that you're there. And that makes a huge difference overall. Work with any population. If you are in Montana and you want to work with surfers, it's probably not going to happen, right? You open up so many doors of different people all across the world. Maybe you want to work with someone who has an Irish accent. These are things that you don't think about, but then when you actually work with them, you're like, wow, this person's really cool. This is fun. I enjoyed interacting with them. You can also think about it as like, just like when people need to travel to broaden their horizons, to get out there, to learn new things. Like once you get out of your city, you start having conversations with them, different walks of life, different people, girls, boys, trans, whatever it is, like you really open up and like get to meet people and build a strong relationship with people that you would not have seen, especially for some of you in your city. So that's a really cool thing. Also, like for example, sports, right? Maybe you want to work with athletes, but your specific city and population area is a little bit limited in that way. For me, it would be really easy to work with golfers, right? But like, I'm probably not going to find a lot of rugby players in Florida, even though there are some. Cricket, really tough, right? So you can kind of like expand on that and be able to see a little bit more by doing that. Find your real dream clients. This is more not just them being a sport, not just where they are, not just whether they're a 30-year-old hiker who loves to, like those really specific niches, are niches, but this is something more so who do you want to work with? Like in terms of how hard do they work? What kind of person are they? Just on the deeper level of those things. The more people you work with, the more you'll start to recognize these certain behaviors, these temperaments, the way that they are. Are they funny? Like little things like that. When you put out memes, you'll get people that enjoy to laugh, right? So like you're going to start seeing that in this presentation, the idea that you don't realize how specific you can be with the people that you're attracting. And that is absolutely true with one-on-one online clients. If you want to work with people with Achilles injuries, if you talk about Achilles injuries all the time, you're going to find your dream Achilles client. If you don't want to work with people with injuries, don't go talking about breathing and rehab and very limited mobility all the time. I've done that.